What is going on, traders? It's Johnny here with Trader X. Thank you guys so much for tuning back into the channel. It really means a lot to us. And today I wanted to go ahead and give you guys another update and let you know how my day trading went. And so as you guys can tell from the screen, unfortunately today was another big red day. So I was down $106 on TQQQ and $49.59 on the Nasdaq Inverse ETF SQQQ, right? And so these were my field orders, right? Same as usual. The timestamps are here on the left. The quantity I was trading with is right over here. The ticker that I was trading is right over here. And then on the right here, you'll see the prices that I was buying in and out. But let me go ahead and get right into the breakdown. And so today, I want to go ahead and explain to you guys what I think led to me doing so poorly, right? And it kind of has to do with something that I think I struggle with the most as a trader. And it comes to, I tend to try to predict reversals a lot, right? And what I mean by that is instead of going with the flow, I tend to, try to predict when something's going to get rejected or bounce off of and it's a bit hopeful because it doesn't actually have to happen, right? And today's a good example of that. So let me go ahead and let you guys know, where I lost my money. And so what ended up happening is the Nasdaq was actually indicating signs of an uptrend all pre-market, right? And what happened is I made the same mistake as yesterday, believe it or not. So pretty much as the market opened, it started to fall, right? And so I bought into SQQQ and then averaged up and then completely changed directions, right? So that's a big reason why a lot of day traders tend to not really want to trade on market open because, it tends to change direction very quick and the volatility is very high. So, it's a bit risky because you don't know whether or not it's going to sell off really hard or have a nice pop. And so yesterday, as you guys know from yesterday's video, I was burned because I thought it was going to go up, and as I bought in and averaged up, it ended up selling off hard, right? And so today was the exact opposite. I lost money on the same exact mistake, which hurts even more, right? So what I could have learned from yesterday was be a bit more patient in the first minute or so, right? And then once you get a true confirmation of the direction that the volatility is taking it, then enter a position. But, I didn't learn from yesterday. So I got into the inverse ETF SQ very impulsively, averaged up. And as it went south, I cut my losses, right? And I lost money on SQs. And as this thing pushed up, I tried predicting when it was going to reverse, right? So I bought into SQs as this thing started to initially sell off, as you guys can see here. And then as it started to pick up, I got, a bit too nervous that I was gonna just continue to ride this thing up and not cut losses. So I decided to cut it prematurely, and it ultimately ended up going as I thought it would. So the Nasdaq, as you guys can see, actually ended up getting rejected. But by that point, I was already out of my SQ's position and lost, $50 on it. And so then at that point, as this thing got rejected and actually started to sell off, instead of going with the flow, right? This thing is continuously selling off now, getting rejected by the EMA. So what I could have done is, as this thing's making these lower highs and lower lows, as it starts to peak back up to the EMA like it did here, for example, this bounce, I can then get into the inverse ETF SQQQ and continue to ride the direction, right? But instead of doing that, I decided to try to predict a reversal. And so as this thing, saw this little bounce here, I got into TQQQ and would average up, and then this thing would sell off and I'd have to cut losses, and I continue to do it over and over. Instead of going with the flow, right? The market sold off really hard today, and I just kept trying to get into TQQQ, predict reversals. It wasn't working, and then it would continue to sell off, and I just kept digging myself in a bigger hole, right? So that's a lesson I want you guys to learn from me today is don't try to predict when something's going to reverse. Instead, go with the flow until, there is no flow anymore, right? So and the main reason for that is pretty much like today. So if you keep trying to predict when this thing's gonna reverse, you're gonna miss out on the clear pattern that it has to offer, you know, going the opposite way or the way you didn't expect it to. So if I instead focused on this thing selling off, I could have made a killing on SQs, right? Instead, I had a big red day today, and I could have had a huge green day if I had just focused on the direction of the day rather than trying to predict a reversal and try to force something that wasn't there. And so I even told myself this morning heading into the market there was a chance it could sell off, right? So as you guys know, looking at it the past 10 days, this thing, what it does is it's been aggressively, uptrending. So it's actually been indicating signs of a higher high and higher lows, right? It's been uptrending and trading recently between the top VWAP and the middle VWAP, right? And even the bottom VWAP itself. So as you guys can see, it'll trade within this general area. And as this thing was uptrending, right? Heading into today's market, this thing ended up pushing all the way up at market open up to the top VWAP, right? And I could have noticed, well, this thing, when it tends to touch the top VWAP, it has a pullback, right? Given the market's been very bearish, especially. So as this thing pushed up, I could have told myself, okay, let's wait for an SQQQ play, and this thing has the potential to sell off pretty big. Especially as you guys can see it on a bit of a bigger time frame, what you'll notice is we've been pushing up for quite some time, right? We were riding the EMA line up, right? Last week we were having a bit of a green week, and so it was overdue for a pullback. Every time the Nasdaq reverses itself back up to the SMA line, which is this green line here, it tends to get rejected, right? As you guys can see, it's done it before here. It did it all over here, right? And so, it wasn't going to be that big of a surprise if it had a nice pullback. And, given the fact that it was touching the top VWAP over here and it continuously got rejected at the top VWAP, it would make sense why I would maybe want to focus a bit more on the inverse ETF, right? But that's ultimately a lesson I wanted to teach you guys, and I hope you guys learned something from this and, are able to avoid this mistake in the future. But yeah, if you guys found any of this informative in any way, we really do appreciate a like and subscribe if you guys are new. It really helps out the channel, and we are new and are trying to spread the word. So, and trying to build up our community. But yeah, other than that, I will be posting tomorrow. So tune in for tomorrow's recap, and I hope you guys all have a good, amazing rest of your day. And I will see you guys tomorrow. Take care.